Thanks, Brendan. And the last item on this agenda is the recipients of councillor director fees for 2018-19, and we have a slightly different set of recommendations than that contained in the printed copy, and that is the approval of the Imagination Station as the recipient of $40,000 of donations, and so Imagination Station, the Innovation and Sustainability Fund, and the Mayor's Welfare Fund. So they are the three recipients of the proposal.
We're the directors on CNZ with number 6.
Well, no.
I'm just asking the question. I don't.
No, because you'd have to have all the directors of CCHLs and Transways step aside as well. I don't think determining where the donations go is an issue.
Yeah, didn't mean to start.
We're not being paid as directors.
If you were on a recipient group.
If you were on a recipient group, so if you were on the board of Imagination Station, you couldn't.
I haven't got the imagination.
And true.
No shot.
And technically, I suppose the Mayor's Welfare Fund.
I guess, although there's no financial interest clearly.
No.
And also innovation and sustainability as well.
Well, after that comment, Vicky.
I think the risk is very low.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So no, I think everyone can participate in this.
Oh, jolly good.
So
I won't comment again.
So would someone like to move it, James?
So that is. I'm just wanting to clarify if my wee amendment is happy. It has got good favour. That's just part of the substantive.
Yes.
So I'm happy to.
Yep.
Easy.
Yep. So it's been moved and seconded.
Sorry,
Glenn?
I just had a question.
Yep.
Of Linda. Linda and I had a conversation the other day over number 6 and how material the mechanics of those donations are to the decision today. Is that a...
I think that the donations from Christchurch, New Zealand are in excess of the 40,000. From Transwaste, they're under 40,000. So we could just ask Christchurch, New Zealand to donate 40,000 to...
Right.
Yeah, that's straight from our director's fees.
Yes, yeah, but in number 6, I have to make it myself. That's
yes. Oh, sorry. So yes, you do at this point in time, unless we could get Transwaste to do it for you. We'd have to try. And...
Pardon? Yes, I
Christchurch,
do. Yeah. I just want to clarify and declare that just due to the mechanics and discussions over the whole matter some time ago, I have to physically make the donation myself rather than Transwaste doing it. So,
right.
Which I have been doing.
Could you ask Transwaste, and maybe at your next board meeting...
Can we take this offline? This is too much detail.
Yep.
I think that, I mean, the essential issue here is that unlike previous council arrangements where individual councillors received directors' fees for sitting on companies associated with or subsidiary to the council or CCHL, instead of that, the organisations themselves pay in lieu of directors' fees. They pay a donation. So, and I mean, the councillors will be asked to approve such arrangements again. Each term. So this is not a. It's not a requirement. It is a decision that this council took 6 years ago and took again in this term that there would be a payment made by way of a donation to these endpoints, and so that decision will have to come back to council. Yanni?
As someone who's campaigned for a long time that councillors should not get additional director fees additional to our remuneration, I strongly support this. I think this is really good. This is putting money into areas that I think is much better spent, and I just am totally supportive of doing this. I think it's the right thing to do. We are remunerated as councillors to do a job, and I think putting the directors' fees into worthy causes is a lot better than just going into our pocket. So I strongly support this.
Yep. Andrew?
Thank you. I certainly would also support the comments just made by Councillor Johansson. As a director on Christchurch NZ and on CCHL, I'm certainly very happy for the directors' fees that are paid by those organisations to be distributed the way that we're suggesting in the resolutions in front of us today. And I think it's worth pointing out that the distribution decision that we're making today is quite different than the policy decision that the Mayor just referred to, that the Council took in 2013 and took again in 2016, and it's my hope that a future council would make that same decision again, so that the work that those of us that are fortunate enough to be appointed to these boards are doing, the recompense for that isn't going into people's pockets, and in fact people who are already well recompensed for the work that they do as councillors around the table, that extends into those council-owned and council-appointed organisations, and so that the directors' fees can be used for what are, as reflected in this resolution, a range of good causes, means that we're able to do more good work through those groups in communities than we would if those directors' fees were going into councillors' pockets.
David?
Thank you. Thank you. My opposition to the directors' fees position is well known, and I still stand by my decisions on that matter, where I feel the role of a director and the responsibilities and liabilities is being undermined by that decision of council. So in keeping with my position on directors' fees, I will vote against this resolution in its entirety today.
Glenn?
Thank you. I think as someone who's seen what happens when some councillors have directors' fees which are kept, and those fees are then added to their remuneration and annual reports, and to see how this has played out around the council table in the past. It's really important we hold to this, and also the policy that sits behind it in terms of the dynamic of the whole council. So all councillors are paid, except for Mayor Deputy, that's all publicly known, paid the same basic remuneration. It's a good rate compared to earners in the city, and it's critical, I think, that this money, which was in my case never mine in the first place actually, goes to projects and priorities which we've identified. So even on the dynamic alone, but for me it's also a matter of principle. I've only ended up on that board by virtue of being a councillor, as have councillors in the past.
Can I call a point of order there, Madam Mayor?
Yep.
Sorry, Leanne, not Madam Mayor. I didn't want to interrupt anyone there, but I just do want to call a point of order that, you know, the substantive motion has nothing to do about the decision of whether councillors get directors' fees or not.
Well, it does actually, because it
just where it goes. The decision's made. It's a completely separate decision.
Endorses the allocation of donations in lieu of councillor director fees.
It does, which you...
Right.
I mean,
it's just
some people are going to vote against it, and I think they should be allowed to say why. So I'm not accepting the point of order on this occasion.
All right.
Thank you. You usually have a very high success rate, so just
today.
keep trying. Keep trying.
Okay.
Yeah, Dion and then Tim.
Yeah, I agree with this fundamentally, but I'm just going to reaffirm one of the comments that I made when we first did it, that my preference would be that individual councillors who are directors on different companies would be able to have the ability to donate to a place where they choose. They're earning that money, and that's rightly or wrongly. We're not just debating that. But that is my preference. I will vote for this because I believe in the fundamental of it, but I just wanted to reaffirm that my preference would have been that councillors who earn that money should be having the right to be able to choose where they donate it to.
Tim.
Thank you. As I'm a chairman of a board and on another board, I totally supported the policy which council made. I think it's absolutely important that the integrity of the process is kept, and that is the crucial thing here. I think that once you go to put the money, if you choose to follow or agree with council policy, but you choose where it goes, that could almost be I guess, interpreted as an election fund. So I have agreed to go on a process which the council has endorsed. I will stick with that, but I do believe that there must be some form of acknowledgement of the level of professionalism of some of the councillors, or indeed all of the councillors, when they are appointed to these roles. I'm a director of an independent body, I've been a director of others, but I think there has to be some recognition, but I will be supporting this. I've supported the council policy when it was established, and I will continue to do so. Thank you.
Very good. Pauline.
Yeah, look, I support this as well, and I support the principle of councillors taking on directorship roles as part of being an elected member, and as part of the remuneration that we already receive. And I know that I, for one, sit on a lot of outside external bodies related to my role as a councillor, where there are no director fees offered anyway. But I'm perfectly happy to do that as an extra role as part of my city councillor role. And I don't support councillors being able to pick and choose where their money goes, because I don't think that's transparent, and I think that can lead to certain other, I won't go into it, but it can be misinterpreted as well. So this is a good resolution today, and I'll be supporting it.
All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. No. No, David East. No. I'm assuming that David East is the one who wants his vote recorded against. Thank you.
So everyone else has voted in favour?
Yep.
To be perfectly honest, I don't agree with the decision. I'm just happy where the money's going. So if you want to make a mountain out of it, then we could. But I'd rather it just pass.
Right.
And to go to the bathroom.
Move onwards and upwards.